Welcome to Motivational Stories. Subscribe for more insights. These 5 motivational stories will encourage you to follow your dreams, treat others with kindness, and never give up on yourself. Find the power to change the way you think and your life. Story number 1. Laziness won't get you anywhere. Story number 1. Even though you're damaged, you still have value. A popular speaker started off a seminar by holding up a $20 bill. A crowd of 200 had gathered to hear him speak. He asked, "Who would like this $20 bill?" 200 hands went up. He said, "I'm going to give this $20 to one of you, but first, let me do this." So he crumpled the bill up. He then asked, "Who still wants it?" All 200 hands were still raised. "Well," he replied, "what if I do this?" Then he dropped the bill on the ground and stomped on it with his shoes. He picked it up and showed it to the crowd. The bill was all crumpled and dirty. "Now who still wants it?" All the hands still went up. My friends, I have just showed you a very important lesson. No matter what I did to the money, you still wanted it because it did not decrease in value. It was still worth $20. Many times in our lives, life crumples us and grinds us into the dirt. We make bad decisions or deal with poor circumstances. We feel worthless. But no matter what has happened or what will happen, you will never lose your value. You are special. Don't ever forget it. Story number 2. Don't judge others before you know them. A 24-year-old boy seeing out from the train's window shouted, "Dad, look, the trees are going behind." Dad smiled, and a young couple sitting nearby looked at the 24-year-old's childish behavior with pity. Suddenly he again exclaimed, "Dad, look, the clouds are running with us." The couple couldn't resist and said to the old man, "Why don't you take your son to a good doctor?" The old man smiled and said, "I did, and we're just coming from the hospital. My son was blind from birth. He just got his eyes today." Every single person on the planet has a story. Don't judge people before you truly know them. The truth might surprise you. Story number 3. Think outside of the box. In a small Italian town, hundreds of years ago, a small business owner owed a large sum of money to a loan shark. The loan shark was a very old, unattractive-looking guy that just so happened to fancy the business owner's daughter. He decided to offer the businessman a deal that would completely wipe out the debt he owed him. However, the catch was that we would only wipe out the debt if he could marry the businessman's daughter. Needless to say, this proposal was met with a look of disgust. The loan shark said that he would place 2 pebbles into a bag, one white and one black. The daughter would then have to reach into the bag and pick out a pebble. If it was black, the debt would be wiped, but the loan shark would then marry her. If it was white, the debt would also be wiped, but the daughter wouldn't have to marry the loan shark. Standing on a pebble-strewn path in the businessman's garden, the loan shark bent over and picked up 2 pebbles. Whilst he was picking them up, the daughter noticed that he picked up 2 black pebbles and placed them both into the bag. He then asked the daughter to reach into the bag and pick one. The daughter naturally had 3 choices as to what she could have done. Refuse to pick a pebble from the bag. Take both pebbles out of the bag and expose the loan shark for cheating. Pick a pebble from the bag fully well knowing it was black. Sacrifice herself for her father's freedom. She drew out a pebble from the bag and before looking at it, accidentally dropped it into the midst of the other pebbles. She said to the loan shark, "Oh, how clumsy of me." "Never mind. If you look into the bag for the one that is left, you will be able to tell which pebble I picked." The pebble left in the bag is obviously black, and seeing as the loan shark didn't want to be exposed, he had to play along as if the pebble the daughter dropped was white and clear her father's debt. Story number 4. Enjoy the moment. After spending nearly every waking minute with Angel for 8 straight days, I knew that I had to tell her just one thing. So late at night, just before she fell asleep, I whispered it in her ear. She smiled, the kind of smile that makes me smile back, and she said, "When I'm 75 and I think about my life and what it was like to be young, I hope that I can remember this very moment." A few seconds later, she closed her eyes and fell asleep. The room was peaceful, almost silent. All I could hear was the soft purr of her breathing. I stayed awake thinking about the time we'd spent together and all the choices in our lives that made this moment possible. And at some point, I realized that it didn't matter what we'd done or where we'd gone, nor did the future hold any significance. All that mattered was the serenity of the moment, just being with her and breathing with her. Story number 5. Stop chasing happiness. An old man lived in the village. The whole village was tired of him. He was always gloomy. He constantly complained and was always in a bad mood. The longer he lived, the viler he became and more poisonous were his words. People did their best to avoid him because his misfortune was contagious. He created the feeling of unhappiness in others. But one day, when he turned 80, an incredible thing happened. Instantly, everyone started hearing the rumor. The old man is happy today. He doesn't complain about anything, smiles, and even his face is freshened up. The whole village gathered around the man and asked him, "What happened to you?" The old man replied, "Nothing special. 80 years I've been chasing happiness and it was useless. And then I decided to live without happiness and just enjoy life. That's why I'm happy now." Thank you for watching. I wish you stay motivated.